There is emerging on the face of the earth a new human, an infinite human, and that infinite human is you. Join Elizabeth Monroy weekly for enlightening discussions, multidimensional journeys, profound meditations, and empowering visualizations as we co-create the new consciousness renaissance together with other blossoming infinite human beings who are shifting the old paradigms of our broken, fragmented, finite 3D Earth and alchemizing it into a more expansive, unified, loving, infinite reality by reclaiming their true divine, infinite power within as the co-creators of the new infinite Earth. Join us weekly for the Infinite Human Talk Show, hosted by Elizabeth Monroy.
Hello, my divine, infinite human beings, all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And welcome. I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm your host for the Infinite Human Talk Show. And today we're going to have some infinite conversations about how to position yourself as first in your life. And especially right now in this time frame that we're now entering, because you'll be coming together during the holiday season. And there's going to be a lot of, for many of you, perhaps some triggers, a lot of expectations, a lot of entanglements with family. And I just want to help you position yourself so you can really be in your magnetic power. And this is especially for women. You know, I'm pretty much talking to women so much of the time because we're really shifting our roles now. And this holiday season may be a time for you to really stand in your power as a female, the magnetic, rather than the reversal roles where you've been kind of like in fact, most women have been the servants to all the electrical, the males around, which is completely, as I've said many times in this talk show, the male's role, is electrical and the females is magnetic. So we've had it reversed. So the magnetic female is the one who sends out the intentions, and the electrical male picks up those intentions and carries out those programs, those plans. And many women are good at that. But, if you find yourself stepping out of that, then, you've given your power away. And it's not just that it's bad for you, which it is, because it ends up, you end up paying with your energy being siphoned off of you because you're misdirecting it and using it in the wrong way. And that's going to become harder and harder to do. But it's also bad for the whole family or everyone who's involved, because the woman really is supposed to be like the hub, the central holder of frequency, of the magnetic intention, and the grounded one that makes sure everyone around her is okay. So, but you can't do that if you're running around, like a crazy person, a chicken with your head cut off, trying to please everyone around you. Your job isn't to please them. Your job is to take care of them on the highest level, giving them not necessarily what they want, but what they need. Said a mouthful there. So this holiday season, you're going to be having the gift of bringing family members together, some, dear ones, and then some perhaps that, you don't feel quite as connected to. But, it's time really to be in your power, to not stoop down into the dualistic level of things, even if they do. Don't let them trigger you. Don't let them pull you from your exalted status as a divine female, as the embodiment of the eternal mother, as the one that wears the crown, okay, the queen that you are. So this is just some, little tidbits here, but it's really important because we are shifting this paradigm. And many of you are doing it, on your own in isolation. You're choosing to, just not be around people and the busyness of things. And you're, contemplating, meditating, doing your own inner work. Some people are doing courses like, I've been putting together the courses and some people have been taking them, or, doing, their own coaching, or whatever ways to shift their reality, to flip the script, as I call it, to change their life story. But many of us are also just out there in life, and life moment to moment is the lesson. So if you need to really become aware. That's where becoming mindful is key when you're out there in, the 3D reality, when you're out there in the world that is still, in great transition. In fact, many of it is very, very broken. So you don't want to feed that brokenness. You don't want to get pulled into that brokenness, into the fragmented parts of yourself. You don't want to be pulled into those lower frequencies. Okay, that's the key here. So, I've been spending the last part of this year, it's always been more about internal growth and work, and not so much about what's going on in the external world, unless it's affecting us, in terms of energetically. But because, like I said, this year, this time frame is so powerful and so crucial. This is the ending of the year of the 2025. I should say, one heck of a year it really was, because it was such a, the power just really pushed out everything to be purged and detoxified and alchemized. And I know I've been going through it. Kiki's been going through, I hear you guys, I know many of you you just wake up in the morning, you can feel that intensity of the energy. So it's helping us though. And so now we're going to take that energy in the culmination of the year, that's coming up in the next month. And so you really want to be mindful, there may be some explosions where, if you haven't gotten rid of something, push may come to shove, and you may realize, gosh, I just can't hold on to that anymore. And it may be actually one of those, fatally moments where, your life it just flashes before your eyes, and you have to come to a very, very powerful and deep decision to shift things internally. So, a lot of people will be taking that road, especially if they're just busy, and they're out there in the holidays. And, I feel like we're going to see a lot of family explosions as the timelines, kind of crash together, and people are, kind of face to face with their wrong self, their wrong timeline, the non-heroic version of themselves. And if they're going to keep playing that game, if they're going to keep letting other people reach in with, and take the pen from them and have them write their life story for them. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of that happening. And if it's happening to you, just become mindful and aware. Try to take a step back. Try to see it all as good, as God, as blessings to this, have it right up in your face, so you're seeing what you have to change, what you have to shift. And if you're coming into this thinking, you're just going to get through this and everything's going to be fine, you're just going to do it like you did before, well, I think you're going to be surprised, because the energy is such that it's really hard to do anything like it was before. You're being forced to choose. And even when you try to do it like it is before, for many of you who have the coding, who have had the contracts of ascension, you're going to find it exploding in your face. So I just want to kind of give you a heads up on that. So when it happens, or if it does happen, and you don't have to do it that way, you can do it. The point is that you need to decide and how you're going to show up. What experiences are you going to attract to yourself? Because, as I've said time and time again, you create your own reality. You are the in charge of this hologram. Okay. Even if you give the pen over to someone else, if you give it to Aunt Bertha or, grandpa or, your son-in-law, you gave it. Okay. You gave them permission to interfere, to intermesh, to mess with your hologram. Okay. You gave them permission to victimize you. Okay. You chose to play the victim. And nothing is going to change until you finally accept complete and total responsibility for every single solitary thing that has ever happened in all of your lifetimes. Yes, there's been parasites who have been manipulating and hacking into our holographic reality. Yes, we've been asleep in the dream. Yes, we've had our subconscious hijacked and reprogrammed, in misery programming to create loose. Yes, all that's happened, but we did choose to be here. We chose to be part of that. So that's how you start to shift things. So, and a lot of people, and I know over the past 5 years, have been going toe to toe with family members, because, you know, whether it's about, the whole COVID thing that was happening, that started out there, and now, about politics or about, the awareness, the inability for people to see what you're seeing, and I do believe in speaking your truth. I do believe that, but there's a way to just hold the frequency and to speak the frequency without dropping it down into duality, if you catch my drift with that. Okay. So that, I think, is going to be the challenge to when you show up at that family cocktail hour or that family dinner, that round table of the in-laws and outlaws and ex-laws. If you can speak diplomatically, but if someone, if their conversation comes up, I mean, you don't have to preach, you don't have to get up on your pulpit, but it's fine to express your views, because there may be a reason that was called up for you. You may be actually influencing the morphogenetic film of the field of the entire collective family unit. Even the young people, clearing up some space for them to have alternative belief systems. But if you can do it in a classy, elegant way, if possible, but always being true to yourself. I just think when someone speaks with just this inner knowingness and confidence and authority, it's heard, or if not, it's felt. And that's probably the best way to show up just as yourself, not trying to prove anything to anybody, not trying to convince anybody of anything, of your convictions, just in a loving, unconditionally loving, accepting way of being who you are. And that, that, my dear beloved infinite awakening, infinite human family, is the key to being the change, to shifting things, because then people can hear you. If they can't hear your words, they can hear your frequency. And that's the way you need to show up, especially as women. We are really shifting the paradigm now. Now, when I remember, Thanksgiving, for example, or Christmas, I mean, the women were always in there cooking, the men were watching the football games, then everyone ate, and then the women were always the cleaning up. I mean, they were the workhorses, they were the ones that were doing it, and the men were, just sitting back and, whether it was brandy and cigars back 100 years ago, or, they're on the Titanic, or just watching a football game. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to shift that paradigm of us. We're not walking around with our tray, picking up everyone's dirty dishes. All right. That's not our job. Our job is to magnetize. Our job is to show up and to, through our energetic template, being correctly aligned with the Crystalla spiral, with infinite God source, with the eternal mother, with the truth frequency, which is truth and love and infinite source, when you have that power behind you, and then you project, you set your intention. And what woman's intention is not for the benessere, as we say in Italian, for the highest good of all around. Most women really want that, only they've been doing it as servants and it hasn't worked because they're broken, they're fragmented, and by the end of the day, they're totally uh, exhausted. Because it is exhausting trying to give everyone what you think what they want. And like I said, what you do is you will help everyone to receive what they need. And that comes from being the queen, not the servant girl, from being the divine, goddess that magnetizes and brings forth all that is needed just through her bountiful, loving, golden aura, her radiance. And that's possible, but it needs to be um, done with wisdom and with holding your frequency, with grounding yourself, and with being true to your authentic self and speaking with your true authenticity. And when you show up with that, you will see things shift, not only, of course, internally, because you shifted. So you will shift internally, and you will just be reverberating that out, and that will be coming back to you. But you will also cause a major shift in your family unit. Now, there may be some, explosions, releasing of frequencies, lower frequencies, some arguments, some voices, whatever, break broken dishes. And that might be just part of the releasing of it. And some people may leave from the occasion deeply affected, perhaps, at first angry, but they will, that energy that you radiate out will hit home. It will hit them. And what they do with it is their choice. But, you've given the gift just by being who you truly are. So this is a very powerful time. And I feel like this holiday season is more powerful than anyone that's ever been, because we are in this cusp of, really leaving behind the old timelines, leaving behind the Fibonacci spiral, leaving behind our old stories, leaving behind the old ancestral miasma stories, and moving, actually creating it anew. So that's the beauty of it. It's coming from sheer creativity, from a place of love, from a place of power, infinite power, and from that magnetic power of the divine feminine and the eternal mother. So if that resonates with you, I'm so glad. I'm been busy creating some wonderful courses and events and coaching platforms that I'm really going to get going at the after in the new year. Okay, in the year of the year of the horse. We leave behind the year of the snake. We're moving to the year of the horse, the warm-blooded horse that gets things done, 2026. So I think we all feel that brewing. And so I've been very, very busy preparing some amazing courses that will really just fine-tooth comb, help you to just, and it's all about you, your own inner work. Because anyone that says, take my course, you'll be cured, I'm going to give you an activation, or I'm going to give you the information you need, and you'll be able to be, healed and wealthy and abundant and have the relationships you want and blah, 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 there, it's nice that you want that. And if you commit to that right there, you're opening yourself up to it. But that's what you're doing. You're opening yourself up to it. And you always have to do the work, the inner work, clear it out internally inside of you. Yeah, you can have a beautiful, supportive environment, which is what I've done in the sacredness of cyberspace, through the videos, through exercises, through artwork, through creative ideas, through helping you to express the deepest, darkest parts of yourself that perhaps have been remain hidden, and to find, new creative pathways to alchemize and transmute all these aspects of yourself that have held you back, that have held you to the old stories. So that's what we're doing. And I have this, my wonderful one that I've been talking about forever, the Rewriting Your Life to Your Heroic Self, which is fun. And I've got some great reviews on it. And, it's an exciting, life-changing course if you really commit yourself to it. And then I've been working on the mother wound, the mother of all wounds. It's really, I call it the cosmic mother, because we go way beyond just the mother wound. And there's a lot of courses about the mother wound and books, and it's a very, very can be a devastating wound that is culturally, all cultures, we need to heal it. But I go beyond that, because I start with the cosmic mother wound, which began when we were separated and cut off from our eternal divine mother, which is now being restored. So that's a wonderful, fun, and powerful course. And I actually take you around to sites in Sicily where we went on our sacred Sicily pilgrimage, where we healed the grids and ourselves and many of our alternative identities in these cultures where child sacrifice was very predominant. So it's a very healing, deep course. And then the one I've been working on just recently, actually two of them, is the sacred womb wound, which I've just did. It was really, I did it for me first, and I started it several months ago and just kept building on it. There's artwork I have right over here, a piece of art I did of my womb that was part of my healing process. And that's part of the assignments, to get you inspired and to stimulate your creativity, so you can use that powerful artistic, creative abilities and power that you have within to transmute and heal and bring yourself to such the highest level, because the womb holds all the emotions. And, we all have wombs, masculine and feminine, because we are all masculine and feminine. And of course, it is your sacral chakra also. So when you have had your divine blueprint, your immaculate, pure womb's divine blueprint distorted, which we all have through our ancestral miasma and through, our sexual activities in all lifetimes, then that has to be cleared, because that will distort the magnetic signal that you are sending out. And as you send that out, you bring it back. So you're pulling back to you what you send out. So it is so important to clear out and to restore the divine template of your sacred womb space. And then the last one that I'm working on right now, and I have some more that I'll be putting in there, but it's healing the twin soul wound. Now the twin soul wound. And we talk about sacred sexual alchemy and how to, the true meaning of sex, and how we're meant to be engaging in it with ourselves or with our divine counterpart. And we talk about the deepest cut of the twin soul wound that was purposely orchestrated and put into our holographic templates, into our our past lives, or they're actually concurrent alternative identities that are still going on. And we really need to heal that, because it was diabolically orchestrated to keep us from coming together, to keep us from finding each other, to keep us from carrying out our soul mission, to keep us from giving each other the Krystic codes that we need for our ascension process, and to keep us from the power that we hold together as the two become three, that become one. And I talk about how it's such an attacked union, and how to move beyond that. And we're moving beyond all that trauma now, which is why it's a perfect time to start taking these courses and moving through them and just cleaning yourself up, so be ready to just, get on that horse and ride in 2026, the year of the horse. So, and then I will also be putting on my course on uncovering your soul mission. And I'm putting together a package, a coaching package that's one-on-one, where people can come in and, have one-on-one coaching with me that is just help marrying you, empowering you, and helping you to gain clarity on, what you're doing, how you're sabotaging yourself, why you're not, experiencing what you are supposed to be experiencing now, living your soul mission, living your passion, living with abundance, finding your tribe, finding the right people, coming together with your divine counterpart. This year is for that. So, and we need you. We need all of you. So that's why I'm doing this, to help you get to your highest heroic self, so you can just take off and be one of the founders and the co-creators of the divine, infinite new earth. So that's what I've been working on. I'm also going to be doing bi-monthly group coaching sessions. So if you take any of the classes and you sign up for the Awakening Infinite Human group, you can show up and you can ask questions about it. You can receive, coaching within a group situation. You can talk to other people who are on the same journeys that you have been on or that you're on. You can get some beautiful, loving support in a heart-based spiritual community of ascension and co-creation with fellow souls that you resonate with. So I'm designing it to be something very, very powerful that will, of course, it's just the beginning, and it's going to bleed into doing lots of physical coming together, pilgrimages, retreats around the planet, meeting up with one another and developing a cohesive, beautiful, golden network of divine, infinite human beings working together on projects, co-creating a beautiful, infinite new earth. So that's what I've been working on, and I hope that message helps you. It's just kind of a short message because, yesterday was my birthday, and then we're about to hit the holiday season. So I'm going to just leave you with that brief inspiration about how to position yourself now, and don't get upset with yourself, because 2025, the 9, has all been about just purging things. So there has been a lot of trauma, and don't judge yourself, because it's all coming out to be released. So if you see, if you do something like, scream and holler and, throw the turkey in someone's face or whatever, don't get upset with yourself. That was all part of it, because that's what 2025 is about. Just getting it all out, so you'll be really ready for 2026. So, all right, love you guys dearly, and have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I'll talk to you later. Ciao for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. We hope today's episode has inspired you to join the new consciousness renaissance and be the change by reclaiming your true divine infinite nature within and becoming an infinite human and a co-creator of the new infinite earth. Tune in next week for another empowering episode. Until then, have an infinite week.